Okay, so like I said in the previous lesson, I will be showing us how to add videos to our web pages in HTML, because the document doesn't really touch on it at all. It's just YouTube then images, right? So for the most part, you mostly be embedding videos from external places or websites or whatever, but from somewhere on the internet, right? Not from your PC or your laptop. But let's just try it out to see how it works. So the first and most important thing is to, of course, have the video they are trying to add. So I've created a folder inside these assets called video, and I've added a video of NF because, of course, I'm a fan, very huge fan. So yeah, this is the video we'll be working with. We'll try to add it to our web page which we've been working on. Yeah, so we'll just add it here, somewhere here. So all we have to do is to come back to text editor, which is Sublime. Then we use the video. We use the video element. So the video element has both opening and closing tags. Then it takes what we call attributes, right? We've talked about attributes. It takes width, height, and some other special attributes. So let me just give it a width of 30. Okay, let me make it 400. Then don't forget your width and height are always in pixels, so take note of that. Height of, let's say, 300. Then if I save this opened on a browser, see that nothing shows, right? Because we've not specified the location of the video that is supposed to play. But just before then, let me add something here. Controls. Now this is an attribute that doesn't take in any value, it's just a property, right? And what it does is that it gives us a video that we can control, right? We can play, pause, mute, those type of stuff. And just in between the opening and closing tags, we have what we call the source element. So I'll add the source. Now we'll have to specify the source, and it is assets, then video, then NF. Also we have to specify the file type, so .mp4. Then in this type, we also have to specify the type here, which is video mp4. Right, so that's basically what we do. You save it, and you can see our image is here. Sorry, our video is here, and we can play it. See? It works. We can mute it. See, we can mute it. We can check, increase or reduce the speed. So this all comes with the controls. You can do picture in picture, which will bring this somewhere that follows us, and any screen that we are on, we can still be watching the video. Then we can still make it full screen, right? So that's basically how we add videos in HTML. The whole purpose of, okay, let me remove these controls. So see what it looks like. See, there's no controls. How do we play it? How do we pause it? How do we mute it? How do we make it full screen? Basically impossible, right? The best you can do without controls is what we call autoplay. So what this does is that when you open it on your browser, it autoplays. But the issue is that doesn't work on Chrome, right? Chrome blocks it from working. Maybe on another browser it will work, but on Chrome it doesn't. So to get this autoplay to work, we have to add another keyword called muted. That's the keyword. So you add muted, save it, and you see it plays and it's muted. But there's no way for us to pause it, take it back, take it forward, or mute it, make it full screen. It's not possible. So that's why we add the control. Right, so now we have the controls. It also plays by default. It plays. It auto plays, but it's muted. But we can always click on this, reduce the volume. We can take it back, make it full screen. All the controls you might want from a video, right? So that's basically how you add videos. And one more thing. If the video is not supported, you can always add a text here that says, okay, your browser does not support this video type. Then something like, sorry. Right, so just in case there are some browsers that don't support this specific video type that you want to upload, you can add this as a way of letting the user know, oh, it's not like anything is wrong with the video, it's just that my browser does not support it. Of course, my browser supports this one, so it's to play, right? Just because it's always good to add that in there, right? Then if we take out this width and height, save that, refresh, you can see that it inherits the default width and height of the video. That's how it behaves. But if we specify, if we specify, it takes our command instead. So you see it has reduced. I can make the width, say 200. See how awful that will look, but just for the purpose of trying it out. Okay, you see, it's always good and advisable to specify the width and height, because sometimes you don't know how large a video is. It might take up a whole lot of space, right? The reason why that was so small even without width and height is because it's something I downloaded from a mobile device. It was posted on Instagram, so its natural orientation will start small. But for most videos, they would not be that small, right? So just take that into account while building your applications, right? So back to this, we want to do this exercise. We've looked at every other thing here, so I think we should just add this image to one of our random exercises and see how we can make it display like this. So I don't know which one should we use example for. Okay, I think we can use this. This basically has everything. It has the title, the menu, blah blah blah, all this stuff. So what I can do is to add something here. Add the H2. Let's just write. Then add our image, img, where is it, assets, right? Then images, then how do we call it, purple dot png. So if we, okay, let me write an alt text. Picture, say with 500 px, height 700 px. Okay, no need to add px. I don't know. I'm already used to This is CSS that I really need to specify all this, but with HTML I don't. So just clean this and okay, we need to open it. Example 4, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yes, example 4. So good. So we see that the image is showing here, but I don't really like the way it looks. Right, so I'll just reduce the height. So maybe 400. This is way better, but there's still an issue. So take it down. Let me say 300. Much better. Perfect. Right, so this looks way better, but we'll notice a problem. In the exercise here, we have the image to the left and the text to the right. Now, how do we do this? Although there is no way to do it literally with HTML, there is a way we can achieve that. And what we do to achieve that is to use what we call divs, right? So this is going to be our first experience using div. Div is a tag, it's an element in HTML that we use to compartmentalize things. So it's basically like when you want to pack stuff, right? Let's say you want to move to a new house, we put things in cartons so that we can easily move them around. That's what we use divs for in HTML. You're basically putting things in little packets, in little sections, in little containers that you can easily apply styles to, right? That you can easily group together. So here we have one section containing the image, another section here containing text. So what we'll do is to create two divs. So we have a div, and what we want to do is to put this image inside the div. So Ctrl X here and Ctrl V here. Then we'll do the same for all the body of text, or let's just do it for this top. Right, so Ctrl X, create our div. Oh god, I missed VS Code. So just paste it in here, right? So indent this so that it's easy for you to identify. Right, so you can see this text is inside this div and this image is inside this div. Now there's one more thing we have to do. We want to put all of this inside another div. Right, so select everything, Ctrl X, just make a div and put everything inside. Right, so that's basically it. Okay, I will have to indent this again so the hierarchy is clear. I like writing stuff that is very readable. Okay, great. So now we can see that we have one very big div. That's this one. Opens here, closes here. And we have two smaller divs inside, this here and this here. So we are basically doing this so that we'll be able to make this show side by side. Now to do that, we have to do what we call identification. We have to give each of them a unique identification. So we'll use the attribute called ID. So I'll just call this ID, although we will not really use this, right? We will not use this, but just to show you how it works. Then we'll call this ID, say text. Then we'll call this ID, call it container. Now we're giving them ID, so each one has their unique ID, right? They have their special names that can only give to them. So whenever we call that name, they know it is them we're referring to, right? That's the purpose of giving IDs, right? So today we're going to do just a bit of CSS, very small, just so that you have an idea of what it looks or feels like, right? And we'll be able to achieve this result. So what we do is we go into our head tag just after the title. Notice we are still inside the head, right? We're not inside the body, we're inside the head, and that's where we write our style. Okay, so small letters, style. Then come down, close it. So we'll be writing our style inside here, inside this style opening and closing tag. And the style we want to give here is just a very, very basic style, right? So we have to call the div that wants to give that style. There are many divs. If we don't say div, the style will apply to every one of them, and that's not what we want. We want the style to apply to only a specific div. So how do we get that style to apply to only that specific div? We call the ID, right? We call that specific ID. Now, IDs can only be given to one element. If you give two IDs the same element, it will use the built-in features to identify the one that carries more priority, and the style will only apply to one of them, or in some cases it will even apply to none. So that's why IDs are only used for one single element. If you want an identifier that you can use for, so let's say for example I want to give all the paragraphs in my LM document the same style, I'll give all of them the same class. Now instead of ID we have what we call class. That one now can be used by multiple, so we just type it like this, how we name it as class. So I can give all my images the same class called, that works. There's image for ID, then images for the class. So if I give all the images the class called images and I give them a style, which will apply to all of them, right? So that's where it differs from ID. ID is used uniquely, meaning it is just for one element. So let me go ahead and just write the style that I want to be applied. So basically what I just did is to call the ID. We call the IDs using hashtag. If it's for a class, you use full stop before the name of the ID. But if it's an ID, you use hashtag. Then I just wrote a style here. You will not really understand, but let me save this and open it up. What's the name of the example for? Right, so exercise 4. Let me reload. Perfect. So now we see that the image is showing side by side with the text, just like how we have here, right? The image is here, there's no space in between, and the text is here. Same thing, we have the image here, no space in between, and the text is here. So that's basically, in a nutshell, all for that exercise, I believe. This might seem a bit kind of confusing, but you don't have to worry about the style now. I'll totally accept if you don't know how to arrive at that, because we've not talked about CSS yet. But this is just to give you a snippet of what CSS is used for and how powerful it is, right? So yeah, that is basically it for today. You can feel free to try out with CSS, right? You don't have to wait for us to get there. You can be way ahead of the pack, because we have to move at a pace that works for everybody, both people that are beginners and intermediate, people that are already experts. We have to move at a pace that works for the beginners, right? So we are kind of having to be very slow and patient, slowly building up. But feel free to try it. This is our last week on HTML. From next week, you have some tasks, projects, or whatever you choose to call it, to work on. You have 3 different tasks to do, right? Using HTML and CSS if you want to. So, but after that task, then we can now go into CSS properly. But this is just basically the main thing you need to take from this is just how to add images, how to add videos. You don't need to bother yourself about the style, and also divs and what we call the IDs and the classes. You should know that, how to use divs, when to use divs. Like I said, the analogy I used, oh my god, what just happened? is you want to move. You have a lot of stuff in your house. You have clothes. Okay, perfect. Every one of us has boxes or trolleys or bags, anything you call them, right? You want to travel. You don't just gather all of them in your hand and start moving, right? Which is basically the equivalent of what we've been doing ever since with all our exercises. We're just packing all our elements and we're moving like zombies. Right? We're just moving with them like children, like kids that will do that, right? But the professional and the right way to do it is to put them in cartons or boxes or trolleys or bags so that it is easy to handle, right? It's easy to deal with. Same thing goes for HTML. Now, if I wanted to style this thing without using this, it's almost impossible, right? So that's why we have some elements like this that don't really have any specific function. They're just there to give everything a structure. So we have nav, we have footer, we have aside, we have section, we have divs, we have span. They are mainly for structure and for styling. So they help us style our HTML documents better. They help us structure our web pages better. So div is one of the most common ones you will ever use, literally. So take note of how to use it. Take note of how to add IDs and classes. As you can see, in fact, we didn't use this, so you can easily just take them out. That's what I had to explain it. We didn't use this. So the only thing we are using here is this container. Right, as you can see, that's the only thing I called here, container. There's literally only one line here, display flex. So that's how powerful CSS is. There's a lot more we can do with CSS, trust me, like background, image, text, color, text size, font, animations, transitions. There's a lot. Border, shadow. It's very powerful, right? You keep learning. You can never stop learning CSS. You just keep discovering more stuff. So yeah, that's basically it, right? I believe that's basically it for images and videos. Don't forget to try out embedding a YouTube video. Try it out. Let me know if it works. If it doesn't work, reach out to me either on the group or privately on WhatsApp so we can debug it together. I'm a very, very big fan of that. I love debugging stuff, right? I love solving problems. Like I told you from the beginning of this course, we are essentially problem solvers. We are just problem solvers using tools like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We use them to solve tools for the web. Basically, that's what we do. So it's a good one. On the next lesson, we'll be looking at, I believe, forms. I think so. Yeah, we'll be looking at forms.